When we think of the oldest monotheistic religion, we tend to think of Judaism. But there's another ancient tradition, far older than most people realize, that many scholars argue introduced the concept of a single supreme God before anyone else, and that's Zoroastrianism. To understand why scholars debate this, we need to start with the basics. Zoroastrianism was founded by the prophet Zarathustra, or Zoroaster, somewhere in ancient Persia. He taught that the universe is a moral battlefield between Asha, truth, order, and Druj, falsehood, chaos. At the center of this struggle stands one supreme God, Ahura Mazda, the wise Lord. These concepts also appear in Judaism, and later Christianity and Islam. So which introduced the idea of a single God, Judaism or Zoroastrianism? Here is where the dating becomes important. To figure out whether Zoroastrianism predates Judaism's monotheism, scholars look at language, archaeology, and the age of the texts themselves. One of the most important pieces of evidence is the linguistic age of the Gathas, the founding hymns attributed to Zoroaster. According to historian Mary Boyce, one of the leading scholars of Zoroastrianism, the linguistic evidence of the Gathas suggests a very early period for Zoroaster. She writes, "It is thought that the composition of the oldest Indian work, the Rig Veda, should be set as beginning sometime around 1700 BC. The language of its hymns, in their surviving form, is very close to that of the Gathas, the hymns of Zoroaster, and not only the outward form of the prophet's works, but also strikingly archaic elements in their content, make it reasonable to suppose that he himself cannot have lived later than about 1000 BC. This quote highlights something crucial. Zoroaster's hymns are linguistically older than many biblical texts, and the archaic Indo-Iranian features of his Gathas place him firmly around 1500 to 1000 BCE. That already places Zoroastrianism's origins earlier than Judaism's monotheistic shift. To reinforce this dating, another major scholar, Bruce Lincoln, explains, "At present, the majority opinion among scholars probably inclines toward the end of the second millennium or the beginning of the first, although there are still those who hold for a date in the 7th century. Lincoln's assessment strengthens the picture laid out by Boyce. He shows that even with disagreements over the exact century, most scholars place Zoroaster somewhere between the late 2nd millennium and the early 1st millennium BCE. In other words, long before the major theological turning points in Judaism. Even the latest proposed dates for Zoroaster still place him earlier than the emergence of strict monotheism in Israel. That crystallizes after the Babylonian exile in the 6th century BCE. Judaism, as we know it today, didn't begin as strict monotheism. Early Israelite religion was henotheistic, meaning they worshipped one main God, Yahweh, while acknowledging the existence of others. We see this in biblical passages from the 9th to 7th centuries BCE, where Israelite texts still reference multiple divine beings or rival gods. These passages don't imply polytheism, but they do show that early Israelite religion was monolatrous, not yet fully monotheistic. It's only after the traumatic Babylonian exile in the 6th century BCE that we see a dramatic theological shift in Judaism. In 586 BCE, the forces of the Babylonian Empire conquered the Jews, destroying their temple and carrying off a proportion of the Jewish population into exile. The captives consisted especially of educated and upper-class people, as well as the royal family. This Babylonian captivity lasted almost 50 years. In 539 BCE, the Persians, under the leadership of King Cyrus, conquered Babylon, and a year later, Cyrus issued a decree stating that the Jews would be allowed to return to their homeland. Not only were the exiles released, but Cyrus, and to some extent his Achaemenid successors, also supported the rebuilding of the Jewish temple in Jerusalem. Cyrus's policy was motivated not only by his religious tolerance, as he also encouraged other pagan peoples to maintain their own religions, but by statesmanlike wisdom. He understood that people treated generously are less likely to rebel. But not all the Jews wanted to go home. In the years of exile, the adaptable Jewish people had established themselves in Mesopotamia, settling there and engaging in business and even politics. Many Jews, while remaining devout to their religion, did not go back to their homeland. They carried on their lives in their new home, and as the Persian Empire consolidated its rule, some Jews even rose to high positions of service in the imperial court. It was during the end of the exile, among the Jews now living in the Persian Empire, that the first significant contact was made between the Jewish and Iranian cultures, and it is evident in the Bible that Jewish thinking changed after the exile. Jewish texts written or edited during this period, 2nd Isaiah for instance, make uncompromising statements like, "Before me, no God was formed, nor shall there be any after me." Isaiah 43:10. This is where exclusive monotheism becomes central. Not merely worshiping one God, but asserting that only one God exists. That context matters, because by this time, Zoroastrianism had already articulated many concepts that appear suddenly and forcefully in post-exilic Judaism. A cosmic struggle between good and evil, angels and demons shaped as moral forces, a judgment after death, heaven and hell, a final resurrection, a savior figure to come at the end of time. These ideas did not originate in Judaism's earlier stages, but they were fully developed in Zoroastrian thought centuries earlier. When the Israelites found themselves living under the Persian Empire, they were encountering an already mature theological system, whose themes resonated with their own developing worldview. Judaism didn't copy Zoroastrianism. Instead, they engaged in a cultural exchange. So, in the end, when we combine the linguistic dating of the Gathas, the archaeological timelines, the historical context, the evolution of Israelite theology, the conclusion becomes clear. Zoroastrianism's monotheism appears earlier than Judaism's, and it likely influenced the formation of Jewish, and therefore Western, religious ideas. Zoroastrianism may not be widely known today, but its impact is enormous, shaping concepts of angels, demons, cosmic struggle, the afterlife, resurrection, and even how the Western world imagines God. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to our channel. It helps our channel grow, and in return, we promise to keep making even better videos. Thanks for watching.